I had another opportunity to sit down with Leon Hirsch in Boston recently. My last time sitting with Leon was about a year ago at his home in Connecticut.
How are you?
I am great. How are
You
you?
look fabulous.
This is Holly. Here's the ladies I was talking about.
Hi. Well, I hear you
Mr.
want to
Hirsch?
meet me. Hello. Nice to meet you.
Charlie Johnson's son, Brian.
Oh, hi, Brian.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Hey, Joe.
We're going to see you in a little bit.
How are you?
Leon, Dave Pacitti. Dave Pacitti's
Pacitti.
president of Siemens.
How are you?
And as you can see, we had a challenge getting the interview started, as all the industry execs walked right onto the set, oblivious of the cameras, wanting to say hello to the great man.
Hey, sorry, you guys aren't taping, right?
Yeah, we are, but that's okay.
I'm sorry. Really a privilege to meet you.
Oh, come on. I'll tell you a story about an Intuitive, which is really a nasty story about me. When Intuitive was really just past the thought stage, I was invited out to see them. They were in California.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I went back, and I said to our guys, M&A guys, forget it, they'll never go anywhere. That has got to be the single biggest mistake I ever made in business.
So this was great, So this didn't go as orchestrated, and I didn't want it to. So we have Scott Hunnigan stop in, we have Dave Pacitti step in, we have Joe DeVivo stop in to pay their respects to what you've done for the industry. It's unbelievable.
It is.
And Dave and I were chatting, and just 15 minutes,
Yeah.
you know, you can, I don't know if you need glasses or not.
I
but,
do,
Okay.
and I don't have them.
All right, don't worry about it. So that's a list. Dave, why don't you explain what that is?
Oh,
So-
boy, a lot of people I know.
Yeah, you think? They
Yeah.
all came out of US.
They all came out of US. They're all CEOs
That
today.
took me about 15 minutes. I'm sure there's another 100.
Oh.
But just, DeVivo and
I
Kirk.
spoke to Peter Hinchcliffe yesterday.
What's interesting about this is it's true, there's a rule. Great leaders create great leaders. Great leaders create great leaders who go on to create other leaders. This is really a testament to your freshman class at US Surgical. The number of people that have gone on, you've changed the world with your efforts by yourself. But just think about the world that's been changed because of the leaders that you created.
Wow. Boy, some of these names sure bring back memories.
Yeah. And that was 10 minutes worth of just, hey, I got 10 minutes, let me see who I can think of.
Right.
Right? And, I told you last night, I did a search on LinkedIn for US Surgical, and there was a zillion names of people that popped up.
Wow. When we get done with it, can I have it?
That's yours.
Oh, thank you. This,
And Dave will give you their email addresses too.
this is wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what does that mean to you when you see things like that? And these people have gone on. So there's
Makes me very proud.
there's tens of millions of lives that are walking the earth today because of these technologies.
Yeah, no, it just makes me proud that I helped create an atmosphere for them to grow. Because that's what it is. I mean, they did the growing, not me. I created the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But you gave them the opportunity, though. I mean,
Yes.
that's the thing as a leader. I mean, and the only thing I was used to say about you was you didn't want to hear about problems. You wanted to hear problems and solutions. And I think that's the culture we built of, taking responsibility for your role and just, being part of the culture of being on time and being quick.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a management philosophy too. I always believe in what I call benign management. I want the person to stand on their own 2 feet. I don't want to direct them. I want them to direct themselves. If they're astray, I can guide. But that's what they should do it on themselves. That's why they're also in a senior position. They used to do it on themselves. But you have to be ready to guide politely.
Where did that come from?
My head.
Just like that.
I was once giving a lecture at Harvard, and after the lecture, one of the students raised his hand and said, "Tell me, what can I read to enhance my ability to be an entrepreneur?" And my answer was, "You'll never be an entrepreneur if you ask a question like that."
Yeah. But there's great entrepreneurs who haven't created legacy leadership, Lee.
Well,
So I wouldn't just put you exclusively in the entrepreneur bucket.
no,
No, I think that it's a much smaller bucket of the people who've created the legacy like you have.
well, I think the introduction of surgical stapling helped. I mean, it was such a unique feature compared to what was then the norm, that the fallout was very positive. I mean, when you think about it, today, I don't think there are any surgeons that don't staple. In 1963, there were 3 surgeons that stapled. Now, you take all the surgeons in the world and train them. That's what happened. Now, obviously, a group of people that made that happen had to be unique. And I think we were able to assemble a unique group.
Did you find unique people? Did you make unique people? Because that was an awful great hit rate. That's a pretty good batting average there. So did you know what to hire?
I think our hiring technique was very unique at the time. And I could tell you a story about it. One of the things we used to do that was different is every weekend we would have a group of a dozen surgeons from around the country up to our place, and we'd give them 2 days in the dog lab showing them various stapling techniques. And I'd have them home for dinner because I figured this is a way I can find out really what's going on behind my back. I mean, I find out what the real customer is thinking. And one day, one of the surgeons said at dinner, you know what gets me? He said, everybody I met at U.S. Surgical is terrific. How do you get to people like that? He said, I have people that I interview a prospective surgeon or prospective resident, and I think he's great. And 6 months later, I said, what did I do? I said, well, how do you interview? And he said, well, I told him about our program. We discussed the details, what they're going to be doing, and so forth. I said, well, what you're doing is shooting dice. I said, given anybody that comes to you is going to have technical skills. You wouldn't be there otherwise. But the technique we use is very different. I have a question that I always start an interview with. What's the question? The question is, what's important to them? And you would be astonished how many answers there are about what's important to you. But what'll come out is, well, I got 3 kids, I love them, I get home for dinner with them every night, we have a little private time. That guy is a wonderful human being, but he's not one of my employees.
Yeah.
What I want is a guy who says, well, I love what I do, I can't hate to get to operate with your chief surgeon here, and I got a wonderful family. I hope this doesn't take too much of my time, but this comes first. I said, that's the difference. I said, if you do your interview like that and hire the guy who isn't the family man, and you're going to have a good group. Well, I forgot all about it. About a month later, I get a call from this doctor. Could you come down to our group and talk, give you a lecture on hiring? I said, what are you talking about? He said, when we had dinner, you told us what you do for hiring, and I'm a chairman of the committee now, and I'm looking for speakers. Please come and tell us how to hire. I said, I'm not a doctor. I've never hired a resident in my life. He said, but you know how to do it. I actually did 3 lectures.
You did?
Yes, to a group of different surgeons on how to hire their residents.
So that's part of it, is picking the right player and then creating the right environment. Yeah?
Yeah, that's why I said stapling helped,
Yeah.
because it was so unique that it allowed anybody with specific skills to nurture those skills and grow with it.
Yeah. Dave, do you have a favorite story? I'm sure a bunch that you'd want to share around this subject or any other subject with
You know, I'm not sure I have one individual story, because there are plenty of them, you know. But I think he was the ultimate leader. I mean, and that was the thing. And I always said he had a way of you know, we'd interview somebody, right? They'd come in through me, then we'd get them down to see a couple other people, and then in to see the boss. And he had a way to pick out talent when they walked in the door, right? Just to be able to say, that's it, or you know what, that's not it. And we're very careful about, and this is him, demanding that we bring nothing but the best people in for every single role, even if they had to wait a little bit longer. But he, you know, it was just one of those environments that he built. It was his culture. Started from the top of, you know, just, we're not going to just take anybody. We're going to take the very best talent that walks in. He was great at it. He was really, really good at it. And you know, the other thing we talked about is we talked a little bit about diversity last night, right? We were having dinner. And one of the things I will say is back then, we didn't care, right? It made no difference to us what ethnicity somebody was, what race they were. If they were the very, very best person, he wanted them. And that is, you know, really hats off to Lee Hirsch for really, I think, starting a trend in the device world.
You know, the other part of hiring is firing. And it's a negative thing to say, but if you made a mistake and you've got dead weight, you are being unfair to the individual if you don't fire them. Because what's going to happen is sooner or later you're going to fire them, and what you've done is wasted 6 months of their time. My philosophy on it is you do your best to get the right guy. If he clicks, that's wonderful. If once in a while you make a mistake, cut it as quickly as you can. You're doing him the favor by firing him. He'll get another job where he'll do better.
Yeah, and they'll be happier.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's take a break here.
Yep.
I know, I think Joe DeVivo is going to join us and sit down. And I think we've got Lou as well.
Yep.
So I don't know who's up next.
I think Joe's up.
Great, and then we'll come back in a couple minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, good.
Do you want to hit the head? Do you need a...
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, okay. Water? Want some water?
No, fine.
Okay.
This list is something else.
Yeah,
That's a short list.
that's a short one, yeah.
You're kidding.